Pledge allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Town of Goshen Town Board meeting, February 22nd, 2024. I have a motion to open the meeting. Second. In favor? Aye. We're going to just change this up a little bit because I have Assemblyman Brian Marr here, and he's got another. He has another place he needs to be at. So we're going to just go to the presentation and discussion on the ambulance district first. Brian, floor's yours.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Is on?
Should be on.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. We have with us from Goshen EMS, Kristen Eagleston. What is your title?
I am the captain.
Captain. Okay. So just wanted to reiterate to everybody, last time we were up here, we did a presentation on the status of emergency services here in the town and village of Goshen. We touched on a variety of factors, including some of the state laws that are potentially being passed down. I think it's worth reiterating. The first time I was here, they said, well, you're a state assemblyman, what are you doing here? I just want to reiterate for those that were here, but also some that may not be part of the original conversation. As supervisor of the town of Montgomery, I was able to research this issue for 3 years, get an ambulance district established, put years of work into it, and saw it come to fruition. And now in Montgomery, we have an agency that provides both ALS and BLS dedicated services. Being elected to the state assembly, I have several more towns in Orange County and Ulster County. I've always been a big believer, if you have the ability and experience and you have the responsibility to also address that situation. So that's it in a nutshell. I asked Goshen EMS if I could be of use. They've allowed me to be of use and to be an advocate and to be up here explaining the situation to all of you. And that is my capacity, pretty much as a volunteer as part of the ambulance service. And also, as your assembly member, obviously I care about the community and the services provided. So, the meeting last time led to all of you investing in the creation of what's called a MAP plan and report. The MAP plan and report is one of several things that need to happen before you establish an ambulance district to fund ambulance services. Again, to reiterate, the reason why you don't just spend money out of your budget and create a district is because districts allow for full evaluation for any projects that are under a pilot, payment in lieu of taxes. You have several of those here, especially larger one, Legoland, where a large portion of the funding from the district will be paid by larger companies. It's close to 9% of the actual district itself will actually get paid for by just a handful of businesses that otherwise wouldn't be impacted within your general fund. So really, the creation of the district is all about maximizing the taxpayer dollars that you would put towards services. You certainly can pay for it out of your budget, but the district allows it to be itemized on a tax bill so people can see exactly what it's going towards. And also, again, greater value because the pilots are not exempt from an ambulance district. So the MAP plan report, the main purpose is to evaluate how much it will cost your taxpayers. And it is very unique here in the town of Goshen, where the EMS that you have that's providing your services has a portion of the town of Hamptonburg, and obviously you have the village of Goshen, and you have a handful of parcels in the village of Chester and the village of Florida. So the MAP plan report has 3 different scenarios that show 3 different impacts to the taxpayer based on these municipalities signing in or not. The feedback that I've received from this board, which I agree with, and it's a different way to go, but it's smart, is you'd like us to go to each of those municipalities, present to them, find out who'd be interested in opting in, so that when you set a public hearing, you'll be able to not have scenarios of what the impact will be on the taxpayers, but an actual impact based on who will be opting in the village of Goshen, town of Hamptonburg, etc. I will say when it comes to the parcels in the village of Chester and the village of Florida, it's a bit negligible. The total valuation is $1.4 billion. and the evaluation in the village of Chester and the village of Florida combined is about $5 million. So it's really not going to impact that total number, but we are, as a formality, going to approach them to see if they're interested in that. This is a lot of information. The Matt Planner report had a lot of pages in it that really showed each parcel. The crux of it, though, is what I'm going to pull out right now and explain. The Matt Planner report identifies the total assessed value in Goshen, town and village, and it also includes, in one scenario, the town of Hamptonburg and the village of Goshen. So with Hamptonburg and the small parcels in Florida and Goshen included, the total taxable assessed value is $1.4 billion and change. And if Hamptonburg and the village of Goshen and everyone opted in, it would cost the average home assessed value. Again, assessed value is different from market rate. The assessed value of $250,000, a homeowner would pay $76 a year. So that's more. I'm spitballing here, but a home assessed at $250 is what market value $400, close to that, $450. Just to make sure no one's confused at that number. That is likely not going to be the number. We anticipate the town of Hamptonburg not opting into this district, and I would actually advise them not to opt into this district for one reason. They have the ability to put their own RFP together to really shop for services that would create a dedicated ambulance or fly car in their community to help with response time. If they're going to ask their taxpayers to put more money in, they're going to want to see specific value from it, because right now they are receiving services without putting funds in. So the reason why they are going to likely potentially entertain that is because, as your state assembly rep, I am here to report to you that a bill that will create, designate ambulance services as an essential service is getting a lot of traction and very well could be either passed this year or next year. And what does that mean? If EMS is designated as an essential service, which it should be, it would be on the same playing field as fire and police, which would mean the town or county, depending on where you are in the state, would be responsible to provide those services. And what we know about the EMS industry is that it is not possible to survive anymore on simply billing through reimbursement from insurance for a lot of the reasons we discussed at the last presentation, which we will re-litigate and discuss at our public hearing. Eventually, we will have the whole presentation again, and obviously get some feedback from a lot of folks. So moving forward, we are going to do our due diligence. We are going to do presentations at the other municipalities. We are going to report back probably in a few months. The reason why we're not in a rush is because this is all due by March 1st. All of these things have to be approved by March 1st in order to take place for the next January 1st fiscal year, and that is based on the assessor and state law in establishing a district. So if we wanted this to be established January 1 of next year, we would have had to have everything adopted, contract signed by March 1st of this year. So that's the good news. You have a ton of time. If a state law is passed, that's going to take a year, 2, 3 to get brought in. So you're still ahead of that curve of municipalities that would be lumped together. And I just want to reiterate that point and why you guys should get ahead of this. If and when EMS is designated an essential service, every municipality or county will have to find the labor force that does not exist to provide those services. So being able to put that together here in Goshen, find local people that are willing to stay here and not get brought out to other places, that's going to be really important. So that's going to be a huge problem that the state has not figured out, but it would not be the first time they passed a law that they didn't think fully through. So that's just something that you really want to make sure you let folks know when they ask, hey, why are we doing this? Why is it important? Why are we doing it this way? Be sure to let them know or have them call me. Kristen, do you have anything before we ask questions? Go ahead, sir.
When we talked before, we were talking about the town board and the village board.
Yeah.
Overseeing all of this with this essential service that would be out. It's going to be a county kind of thing, or
No. So When you designate EMS an essential service,
Right.
it would be similar to,
Fire
You-
departments, they would have their own board of directors and whatever?
no. So, right now, the town of Goshen and the village of Goshen have their own police department, correct?
Right.
Okay, so if the village of Goshen did not have a police department, it'd be the town's responsibility to assess the village and provide police services. So you would be designated, the township would be designated to provide EMS services. So right now, you're doing it without a contract, there's a volunteer organization that's providing services.
Okay.
You'd have to enter into a contract with them and figure out how to fund it.
Okay. So if we establish it under the rules that we talked about, where we have oversight, we have somebody from this board, somebody from the village board that sits on the board there, and the state comes down and with another unfunded mandate and sets up rules and regulations, do we have to adhere to those, or our established rules are gonna take precedent?
If the state passed a specific law, which it has no intention of doing, and I have not read one bill that would do this, that mandated ambulance services to be set up in one uniform way, that would circumvent what you're doing here. The reason why they would never do that is because in every community it's different. You have some communities where the fire district's providing EMS services, and they've passed a law to allow them to receive billing so that they can do that in certain areas. In certain areas, you have police departments doing it. In certain areas, especially upstate New York, there's no way the towns can do it, and so the counties have a program. So,
They're only gonna establish it as an essential service?
yes,
That's it?
that's it.
No mandate as to how it has to be formed?
No, because there's so many different ways it's happening right now, and they at least understand that.
All right, great.
Yeah. So we'll be back. If you have any questions, or if there's any residents with any questions,
No, I'm good.
yeah.
George?
See you guys. Yes?
So one other thing, if you could speak just a little bit about I guess constraints isn't the proper word, but the fact of how we, or the Goshen EMS has to come to the town board to have their budget approved.
Yeah, good point. So an ambulance district is not a fire district. A fire district has its own board of directors, its own budget, it's voted on at a certain time of year, pretty much a low turnout. Here, it's part of the town budget. It's itemized in the tax bill, but the town board is the absolute authority. You can choose to have a village board member on there and a member of here on there in an advisory role, but the town board will always remain the authority in terms of spending those dollars. So if you were to have a contract with Goshen EMS, and all of a sudden that separate nonprofit was not able to provide those services, you'd be able to use the funds in your ambulance district to shop for other areas, other private companies to provide those services for you. Also, we didn't hit on it, we hit on it in the first presentation. Goshen, in the village of the town of Goshen, does not have dedicated ALS services. So BLS services is what the Goshen EMS department provides right now. ALS services are those services that are provided with enhanced support that allows for very specific medical services to be delivered, which right now more than 10% of the calls that Goshen residents are getting, no one's coming. And that's why,
Well, basic life support is coming.
no,
But
ALS.
Not advanced life support.
So
right.
advanced life support service calls, 10% of those are just dropped because there's no dedicated company here. Right now, there's no contract, and Empress, which bought out Mobile Life, is the ALS provider that comes when they are available. And that is why it would be important for Goshen EMS to be able to invest and provide those ALS services.
So when they don't come, we either are waiting for an extended ETA from, say, Montgomery to come in, or Walk Hill to come in, or Empress from sometimes Newburgh to come in. You're talking about 15, 20-minute ETA. So what basically we're being left to do is to just package and go, treat as best as we can with what we have, and just go as fast as we can to the hospital, because that's going to be our closest than waiting for those people on scene. So that's, and also a safety issue as well.
And another thing, and then we'll leave because we'll do this another day. A EMS district is also different from fire because when it comes to EMS, there is a mechanism in place where when you spend money on staff, you are able to answer more calls, do more mutual aid in other communities, and create more revenue from that investment. So the goal isn't to just continue to raise the budget and take more from the taxpayers. The goal is, as you create and establish the ALS provider, the cost for employees and health insurance, as that goes up, you offset it by the increased revenue in the services you provide. So that is a very important thing to not allow the residents to be a little scared when thinking about the numbers. This EMS model actually can create revenue and remain in the black for quite a while.
Appreciate all your help, Brian.
Thanks, everybody. We'll be back.
I'm getting texts from the public, they can't hear unless they speak into that mic. I got 2 texts. I'm just checking to see if it's on. So I just got to put the mic closer, that's all. All right, good evening, everybody. If you want, as whoever came in late, if you want to speak on behalf of any of the public hearings, please sign up so Karina can call your name. First public hearing, opening the public hearing for introductory law number 11 of 2023. Can I have that motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. The floor is open to anybody that would like to speak on behalf of introductory law number 11, 2023, amending chapter 27.
That is number 1.
Jean D'Onofrio, if you could please stand up. You're going to pass? Okay. Moving on to Ann Wood.
Yeah.
Okay, Ann, you have privilege of the floor.
Just wondering how this is going to impact my well.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Please come forward so the public can hear you.
Probably. Just wondering how this is going to impact my water from my well. I already have problems because they built the developments out beyond me, which is tapping into the groundwater. And so is this going to tap into my well?
Where do you live?
Maple.
Maple.
If you, Karina, just get her address down, so we'll respond to it. I'll respond. She got it? Okay, I'll respond to it.
Yep, okay. If I could please have Brad Barn, I'm sorry, Barn. Yes, if you could please come forward.
Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to address the board regarding the introductory local laws.
Yeah.
You have to really speak into it. Regarding introductory local law number 11 of 2023, I respectfully request that this law not be passed. I'm concerned about some changes from the existing code, which requires a special permit issued by the planning board, and the new law would have that permit issued by the town board. I prefer that that permit still be issued by the planning board. Also, there's an addition in the law sidebar, the original law that was posted in town board. There was item II had some changes from the initial version that I had received. That's fine, but the changes make it better. Nonetheless, I still would prefer that the town not enter into contracts to sell its water. We've been around this many times. If you go look at the meeting minutes through the town and its history, we don't have an overabundance of water. And instituting a law that would allow us to sell it to outside municipalities is concerning to me. My well, I've been here 20 some odd years, and I definitely can tell you that my well on Maple is less productive than it was. And I've got a house that well used to run a farm, and now I can barely sustain a house. So selling our water to outside municipalities is pretty much a hard no for me. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Linda Z. From 39 Maple, you have the privilege of the floor.
I just feel that if it's passed, that it's going to open a Pandora's box in terms of requests for the water, and that it will leave us open to enabling some very large development even outside our own community. And I just don't think that's a good idea. I really don't. I think it's a resource that's limited. I think it's limited in Goshen. There are warehouses that are within the village and the town and that are going up. They're not even done. And I think all of this is going to have a big impact on water. The one at the top of 17M, I just can't imagine what the water is going to be in terms of a requirement in that particular company. So I really don't think it's a good idea to pass this. I really don't. And I don't know, the newspaper reported that you're voting on this. Is that a vote tonight?
No.
Oh, okay.
Still has to go through the planning board review.
Okay.
This is just a public hearing to hear the public, so that the planning board has the opportunity
Okay,
to listen to some of the public comments
Thank you.
also.
But really, I just don't think it's a good idea.
Understood.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Neil Halloran?
Thank you for the right.
It's on, you just gotta be.
You gotta be close, Neil.
I thought I was pretty Thank you for the ability to speak tonight. I do have a good bit of concerns about some of this. I know we had the water study from back near 2003, and some of those watersheds now are at or near capacity. So taking in water from there is going to diminish the ability for those to survive still. Certainly, when you remove any water from the town, you're removing the ability to develop in that area either for commercial reasons or for residential reasons. I don't know where you're even thinking of doing that, but it's going to have an impact on people's groundwater no matter where you take it out of. Whether it's the businesses or whether it's the residences, it's going to have a problem. At the current time, we know of at least 3 municipalities within the county that need water right now. We know Village of Goshen depends on water, and they have water from our town. And I'm not saying that they shouldn't, I'm just saying that we know that's happening right now with the reservoirs. And they are near capacity when they get to supplying all the water that Legoland needs, and they still don't have Kedem online, which they are concerned about. I'm not sure they're going to have enough water. Certainly, I think they're looking for another source, and I'm not sure we can be that or not. And then the other 2 are Chester. It needs water right now for Chester Greens. I know they were doing water testing 2 or 3 years ago, and they were monitoring wells in our town. They were monitoring wells of our residents at that point in time when they were testing for water over there. So I know they need water. They do not have enough water for that whole community. And the other thing, obviously, is KJ. KJ is bringing water in from elsewhere. We certainly had at least one private person considering years ago. I know we turned it down at that point, but she was considering selling water from her property. So I know that there's a potential here for all kinds of use of water that I think will have a detrimental effect on our ability to develop within our own boundary. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mike Torelli, you have the privilege of the floor.
Good evening, and thank you for having this public hearing in regards to this topic. I look at water as a piece of infrastructure, just like roads, just like sewer, just like electricity, you name it. I'm in favor of having the town board have the option to review stuff that is just like this, infrastructure. That's what the town board is elected to do, whether you name it as water or sewer or anything else. Imagine a long time ago when roads were being built. Imagine if each road had a cul-de-sac at the end of it because it didn't want to connect to the next town. That's what infrastructure is about. I have the full faith that this board, whoever we elect, you guys here or anyone in the future, will have the smarts with assistance from your attorney and your professionals to do the right thing. And to do the right thing is to make sure that one, that the town is taken care of first, but if we are in excess, and if our infrastructure needs to be upgraded over the next decade or next century, that this ability to be able to sell water may actually do that. And it's just a possibility. It's not like it's going to happen or that it's a definite. It'll be reviewed on a case-by-case basis. I'm sure in a case where there's not enough water, you're not going to sell water that you don't have. I'm also sure that if you have excess, it'll help bring the taxes down for the people that live in Goshen, that are in water districts that need upgrades. So I think it's a win. I think it's an option. And an option for infrastructure is all that we ask for. And I'm definitely in favor of it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Mark from Rolling Ridge, you have the privilege of the floor.
Good evening, gentlemen. I live on Rolling Ridge, as you know, as you just heard. This is kind of ironic, I didn't come here because of this issue, but I had recently read an article in the New York Times about groundwater and what a major issue it is across the country. The title of this article is, luckily I was able to pull it up, "The East Coast is Sinking." And it says, there's a big threat from, of course, rising seas, but rising seas are not why we are sinking. We are sinking because of overpumping of groundwater. That is the number one main issue in the headline of this article. And it goes on to show you in color that you can see this is Rhode Island, Long Island, that's New Jersey. We are right, it's hard to see because of these stupid things. We are right here in this corner. Basically, it's showing that we are sinking. Now, it's millimeters, it's fractions of an inch, but it's actually being recorded. There are areas that are closer to the coast that are really threatened by sea level rise, ground sinking, and it's all because we are sucking the water out of the ground, which actually is supporting us. We create voids, the land sinks because it has nowhere else to go, gravity wins, boom. So that's one reason why I think we shouldn't be selling our water. It is just too precious, and it's a dangerous thing. We don't even really know how much is down there. So for us to be, sending it to other communities in need, yes. Emergencies, yes. But just because it might help us save, a few dollars, it's not even going to help us pay for ambulances, I'm sure, whatever we make on that water. So I would say that I'm against it. And thank you very much.
Thank you.
Did anyone else come in that did not get the chance to sign up on introductory local law number 11, 2023?
Yeah.
What's your name?
My name is John Harrigan.
Okay, you can take privilege.
Yeah, how you doing? Let's see, I didn't come here to speak about this either. However, I've investigated the water issue as much as anybody in this town. And I looked very extensively at the water analysis or the water production analysis for the wells at Crystal Run and what they can produce. And when this is prior to Lego Land being constructed, the analysis that was put forth before that. Now, as far as I know, at that time, those wells hadn't been approved. The additional production that was claimed for the village wells hadn't been officially added to Goshen's supply. But since that's taken place and Legoland's been constructed, first of all, Legoland hasn't gotten into full usage, and second of all, we've had very wet weather. So it hasn't been tested under drought conditions, which will eventually come. And for that reason, I would be opposed to changing the law to allow this water to be sold. So thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
Okay.
Did you want to? Okay, what's your name? Ramona.
Just state your name when you go.
Hello,
Hey.
thank you. My name is Ramona Harrigan. I came here in the rain today because I felt there were important issues put before us today. I pay taxes to the town of Goshen. I graduated from Goshen High School. I love Goshen. And I'm very concerned. This wasn't even the issue I was coming for, but hearing that you want to sell water. Goshen for years, I mean, last 40 years, has had a problem with water, not having enough water, the taste of dirt in the water, the reservoirs running dry, and I can't even believe that you're thinking of selling water. I really feel like whatever water we have needs to be kept for the town of Goshen and the village of Goshen. For the people that live here. Thank you. So I am opposed.
Anne would like to return to the podium.
Sure, guys.
Linda.
I'm sorry, Linda.
Guess I have another
Yeah, wait till
question.
you get up there. It won't pick up the.
I guess I have another question, which I should ask. If this goes ahead and there's a request, either from us or another community, how is the water going to be transported?
Trucks.
Only trucks? No piping? No.
Depending on the municipality, if it goes to the village of Goshen, it'll be piped to them, yes.
Okay, so that would mean excavations in the roadways and all of that, right?
No, not on the roadway.
No? Okay. All right. And
And also, if I could just be clear on this, we keep talking about groundwater and pulling it from wells. The majority of the water that we're talking about is coming from a pipeline that we are getting from Middletown. So the water's coming out of a reservoir in Middletown that we'd be looking to use here for our residents, for our commercial people, and then any excess we would sell if we needed to sell it. So the issue of groundwater and wells going dry, at this point right now, we're not talking about selling any wells coming out of the water.
so we're currently getting water from Middletown?
We are in the process of taking over the line from Amy's Kitchen, yes.
From where?
Amy's Kitchen, the lines that go to the city of Middletown.
This gentleman would like to return for a
Sure,
comment.
yeah, come on up, Rick.
Thank you. If the intent is to resell water that's being brought in from elsewhere, that should be codified in the law.
I'm sorry?
If the intent is only to resell water, which is brought in from outside of the town, I would ask that that be written into the law and then a hearing brought up for that.
Understood. Okay.
Thank you.
Evening, gentlemen, how you doing?
One-
I'm a little confused. I just heard you say you're gonna bring the water from Middletown. That's the only place you're looking to spend? I try to find.
It's part of the equation, Ken, yes. Part of the
No,
equation.
no, I've heard stories, and I did a lot of research. It was hard to say where you're gonna get the water, strictly from Middletown. So then why are we talking about groundwater being pumped from the town of Goshen? The law itself is kind of ambiguous, to say the least. It's so unclear, leaves it wide open. The public has no idea what you're planning. If you go, I heard rumors, Lippincott Wells. You've heard that?
The Lippincott Wells, yes.
I can tell you, Myron Jabatsky in 1982 wanted to buy, George, you might remember, he wanted to buy the Lippincott Wells and sell the water to the village of Goshen. The EC said, I don't think so. So that never flew. And just to give you a general idea of the water around that portion of Goshen, our own police department, the water was so polluted, the village of Goshen was kind enough to let us run a line from the police station and the highway department to the DPW to get water there. It's not a real good place, a good, safe place to, but I also think your law should be more specific. This is so general, this leaves you can start pumping water, I guess, on Arcadia Road if you want to. know, but anyway, I would think, and what about the cost? You're gonna take water from Middletown. Where's the cost factor in your law? There's no cost. What, you're gonna get, when you develop a district, who's paying for it? Where are you gonna put the water? All these costs should be in front of the public, in my opinion, to know what kind of law we have. You can run, I run with the old famous, you all heard about the Orange County water loop, if you've all been around with that. They said millions and millions of dollars, you know what they came up with? It was too costly to bring water from town to town. So I think if you're gonna pass this law, you should have numbers to pass it, and not just have a cost per check. Thank you very much, gentlemen, good seeing you all, be well. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Kate Frischberg. I live in the village, but I'm very concerned about the way that this is written. I don't understand why anybody would buy from us water that we're buying from Middletown. Why wouldn't we just direct them to buy it directly from Middletown? I don't see the point in being a broker. What if it becomes contaminated of liability? We're not, it just sounds problematic. But I need also for the community that's around the Altuve landfill to always be remembered. We sacrificed many people and many families with cancer and a lot of other things. And the groundwater issue there is still there. We still have tiling in the groundwater. We have other issues that make it very difficult for people to be able to afford expensive water filtration systems for their houses and to have that. And we cannot forget these families. I don't live there. I used to live there.
Hello, members. Thank you for the opportunity. I just have a word of caution.
Can you say your name, please?
Yes, my apologies. Steve Betancourt, 9 Court, Goshen. One of the things that I fear, and again, I'm not an expert, is with all the projects that we anticipate coming into Goshen, warehouses and other types of items, I'm worried that we may not be able to fight any fires or any incidents that may occur with that infrastructure that we're building out. So we should be cautious with the water that we're thinking to sell. I get it, we're not selling it now, assuming it's additional, but I just caution with that would be very, very prudent, especially with all these projects that are back. So that's my concern. Thank you all.
Thanks.
Yeah.
That is all the names I have on.
That's it?
Signed up.
Very good. Can I get a motion to close the public hearing? So moved. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, so can I get a motion to assume lead agency on this matter?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Do we need a roll call on any of these?
I would do a roll call on that last one for the seeker.
For the lead
I mean,
agency?
lead agency,
Right.
yes.
George?
Aye.
Aye for me. Rick?
Aye.
Doug?
No.
All right, so next I'm also gonna need a motion to type this, take this action as a type 1 action.
So I'll make that motion.
Second. Roll call?
Yes.
Roll
Yes.
call on all of this?
Yes.
Okay. George?
I second it.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Rick?
Aye.
Doug?
Aye.
All right, so we have, Kelly Norton has prepared an EIF. Everybody should have gotten a copy of it. Does anybody have any questions on the EIF? Is that?
I haven't seen it.
It was up on the computer. You want to take a look at it here? I'll put the copy out.
Thank you.
Give you a little time to take a look at it, Doug. Do you have any questions on it?
Pull it up on my thing here. Which one is that?
Did you upload these? Did you upload a version here?
Mhm.
Yeah, okay.
That's the
Ambulance finance.
one I printed today.
Which one is it on that one you have?
Yeah, I printed it out, so give me a second to find it.
I didn't see it on there.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's not on.
It's not on there?
No.
Can you go make a couple of copies real quick?
Is this all one thing?
Yes, please. Sorry about this. Email, I know that.
Yeah,
Yeah, she did. That's what she did. She emailed it to us because it was a file.
check in Mike while we have
The other day. No. Right, type one, part one.
No, this is 1-3.
Let's read which was exactly and see. What we're doing right now is taking the action so we can deliver it to the planning board. Yeah. So nothing, there's nothing that's going on from the planning board to have a public hearing taken. Okay. So we can't adopt the local law. Yeah, and we have to distribute it 7 days after we get that. All we got back was the 239 that changed. What?
Should we go on with the agenda and come back with that?
We can't. I'll have to close the public hearing before I can open another.
Okay.
Want me to read this out? He's got a copy of it.
This was prepared by Kelly, right?
Kelly, planning board. Mostly no's, George.
What?
Mostly no's.
No or small impact.
No, yeah, no, that's no impact.
But if you look at that, you know, it says removal of groundwater for use outside of the town. So are you talking about removal of groundwater in addition to getting it from Middletown?
That's the way the law is written, yes. She's looking at everything in the EAF.
Okay.
So that was the question I was before now. So she has this as the R3 and that's prepared into, but nothing was changed.
Can you take a look? Yeah, she should have prepped, but she probably should have checked on it. I'm assuming that it's going to be, since she said there's no significant impacts, I'm assuming it's going to be extra. But we can go back and ask her. It's going up to her anyway, what we're doing is sending it to her. Yeah, so she got it. Yeah, exactly. That's fine. We'll come back to the next meeting for it, okay?
Do we need to, for this, Joe, do we have stuff for the second one? For the next law, in the stuff, or should we start making copies?
I'm sorry?
Should we start making copies for the second?
Yeah, I have mine on local law. There's no EAF on local law, is there?
On number 2. On number 2, on the second thing on the agenda, yes. Local law number 1. The next one you're doing.
No, there's no EAF. They have to do a full seeker on it. So,
I didn't see any.
yeah.
It's solid waste.
Yeah, no. So, what I gotta do here is, I'm not gonna be able to move forward with, typing it as an action, a type 1 action, because there's a, one item on here that wasn't checked off and it's required. So what I'm gonna do is I'll leave this open to the next meeting, we'll close the public hearing, but to get everything done and type the action and declare the negative declaration, I'll just wait till next meeting. That works?
Yeah, that's what we have to do.
All right, very good. Item number 2.
Looks to me, Joe, I mean, the input from the people tonight, are we gonna discuss this before we close the public hearing and move on?
No, we'll take all their data, that's why I have Karina getting everything, getting their emails, and I'll respond back to everybody with all the questions. You got everybody's,
Not everybody left their email, but also not everybody asked questions, but I believe there was one lady who asked questions, I believe I have her email.
so we will post this all up on the web. Any of the questions that were asked tonight, we will post the answers.
And we discuss them when and if you go to a vote as well.
Correct, yeah, there'll be,
After it comes back from the planning board?
yeah, we'll have to be a
their
public hearing.
commentary as well,
too.
because they'll have, theoretically, would have commentary as well, which would be potentially impactful.
Does the planning board have to have a public hearing on this?
I can't, I don't know. I don't know what they have to do.
Very good. Item number 2, introduction to the number 1, 2024, amending Chapter 80B Solid Waste Management, and Chapter 97 zoning to additional language. Can I have a motion to open up the public hearing?
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Yeah, Karina.
If I could please have Richard from Judd Place to the floor. Oh, you're good? Okay, Ann?
Two questions.
Pardon me, I'm reading off the wrong sheet. Pardon me.
Okay, I'm not second then?
No, I'm sorry. I was on the wrong sheet. That was my mistake.
That was for local, that was for the third agenda
I'm
item,
on
number
this one
2.
too, so-
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go.
You can go ahead.
Just go ahead.
Back and forth.
Okay, so 2 questions on this. Because of the way it's written, it's not clear to me. If approved, if this is approved, then each application for a solid waste site would have to come before the board and do a public hearing for approval still? Yes or no?
It's a special use permit for every applicant, yes.
Okay. If it's not approved, would this have any impact on refusing the establishment of solid waste sites in the town?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
Okay. If this is not approved, would it inhibit the establishment of solid waste sites in the town? Would it do anything to inhibit them?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Jean D'Onofrio? Okay. Brad, from 100 Maple? You have privilege of the floor.
Thank you again for the opportunity to address the board. This microphone is really insensitive. I'd like to stand back from it, but I feel like I have to really get up close and personal.
Can't hear you.
Exactly.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. Is this any better?
Yeah.
Much better.
Very good. Okay. It's going to be a little discombobulated, so bear with me because I didn't have written notes. I respectfully request that the board not pass this law. My concerns are as follows. Article 4, Section 80 Bravo 6, Subitem A. The town, at its discretion, may require solid waste management facility permits for construction and operation as provided in 80 Bravo 6B and C. I'm not sure if that's a clarification of the existing law, which I think said the town may require this. So I would like that to be clarified if it is just explicitly adding that in, that the town has that ability versus it being implied. That's point number one. Then in 80B12, item D, the addition of item 4 or sub-item 4, surety requirements may be waived if the NYDC permits contain sufficient surety requirements as determined by the town. Again, I'm against that. I think that there should be requirements in all cases, whether the DEC has some or not. If the applicants want to do this, they can afford to put up the bonds. Finally, I believe that the previous law, as written, said, previously the law in section 97-58 stated limitations on solid waste management facilities. Solid waste management facilities as defined in Environmental Conservation Law 27-0701 and 6 NYCRR 360-1.2b 158 shall be prohibited in the town of Goshen except for composting facilities as defined in this chapter, see subsection C below. This law presumably would change that to allow solid waste management facilities. We already have a dump not far from me down the road. I don't really think that we need to add more waste facilities to this town. Thank you for your attention. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
June Evers?
I just want to reiterate what Brad said, but I do want to just bring a little history into this. Maple, when we first moved up here in 1980, Maple Avenue had a nickname of Cancer Alley. And Priscilla Gersbeck, Sue Cleaver, Mary McPhillips, and my mother fought tirelessly to shut that landfill down. The last thing I want is anything going on anywhere around there, because if that happened years ago, it can happen again. And I mean, these are people's lives that we're, messing with, and their drinking water. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Priscilla Gersbeck?
Good evening. I'm concerned about changing a law, and it's been in effect since 1983.
Can you hold the mic?
I'll just turn it.
Oh, yeah, we'll get it close. Yeah, so they can hear, because they're not hearing you online.
In 1980, a group of citizens band together preventing Algery landfill from expanding. Another group banned to close the expansion at the Orange County landfill. And still another group prevented Masada from coming in. Now we are asked to change the local law 80B allowing for Hughes Energy to enter Goshen. Hughes Energy was presented to the town board on January 11th meeting. In less than 3 months, it's been to the planning board and the zoning board of appeals. What reason do you have to rush this application? Is there something to intentionally be overlooked? You ignore the fact that the master plan is outdated. The last time it was, in fact, done was in 2009. It should be done every 10 years. Zoning should be done in accordance with the master plan. Updating your master plan should be considered before the town laws are changed. Councilman Lyons, at a point in your life, you were involved in education. You know how important it is to read and understand the facts before a decision is made. Aren't you interested in learning the facts as to why Sullivan County, Greene County, and Delaware County rejected Hughes Energy? I am asking you for more time to review the documents before changing a law that will affect the residents you represent. Councilman Bloomfield, when you were supervisor, you ran an open government. People came in with requests and concerns in which you told them to put it in writing to be presented to the town board. Every request was scrutinized and reviewed to conform with our master plan and town codes. We should not be asked to change our code or zoning to accommodate an application. The application should conform to our codes and our zoning.
Right.
Councilman Florio, I wouldn't forget you. No secret you work for TAM, and I have nothing against TAM. They perform services needed by many entities. A very prosperous, well-known, well-liked business. They will be assisting in this Hughes Energy project. Can you honestly be non-biased in the decision-making process? Changing the law to fit Hughes Energy will impact the surrounding neighborhoods in which you are part of, and also generations to come. In closing, take into account all of the proposed applications along Route 17M, warehouses and cement plants, and on and on. And then there's large applications such as Science of the Soul and Goshen Hospitality and the 2 warehouses on Police Drive and the Kendham Wine and Juice plant. Having the option to transverse on Route 17M these large buildings, these large businesses, collectively the infrastructure is outdated to support the changes. This is not smart planning. A rush decision will impact the future growth of Goshen. Changing our laws to benefit the applicant sets a precedent. If you change the law for one applicant, you will have to change it again for another one. I am asking the town board to extend the public hearing for 10 days, allowing for submission from those unable to attend and for more documentation. This would be a good time to call for a moratorium to update your master plan. Thank you for your time.
I'll take it. Neil Halloran?
Thank you. Take it again.
You can take it out.
Take it out home.
Thank you. I was not prepared to talk about this tonight because on the town website, did not list this as a public hearing. But I tried to scratch together a couple of comments. My biggest concern is, at the last meeting, or not, anyhow, at the last meeting, somebody said that the only reason we put this in the law back in 2004 about not having so many additional landfills or whatever, was not landfills. We had, at that point in time, we recognized that we had 2 landfills, 2 transfer stations, both of which were giving us trouble, and still give us trouble today with all the garbage along there, along 17M and Old Hartley Road. We also had 2 composting facilities. We had just gone to court to shut down a composting facility right where CES is right now. And we also had 2 correctional facilities and 1 psych center. The feeling at that point in time, back in 2003, was that we have a number of the bigger problem things. Most people don't want to live next to any one of those things. And Goshen has 7 of them. We really felt at that point in time that there was no need to add any more to it. The other parts of the town, you can take their fair share at this point. I'll try to prepare the other comments, but I apologize, I wasn't really prepared for tonight. Thank you.
Ken Newbold,
No good.
Ramona Harrigan,
Okay, I'm here to say that I am not for this dump, is what I call it. We have Superfund sites, we had Alturas, we have the county dump there. You know, we've had a Superfund site in Campbell Hall. It's like enough is enough. As I said, over by the garage, the town garage, again, you know, those people couldn't drink the water there. You know, Goshen is a beautiful town. Are we going to become a cesspool? We put in that big, what do you call it, for the sewage plant. And I remember when that went in. Oh, it's so huge. You know, we're never going to have to do that for years and years. Then it was so big that they were selling space to it. And now it's like, oh, we need more. You know, we need more. I don't want to see the character of this town change. And I believe I heard that the state has a law against, you know, too many sites for one town. So I really think we should follow the law. And I do agree there needs to be more transparency. People need to hear about this. People need to have handouts. People need to know what's going on. You know, it just feels like it's being rushed through. And, you know, are you for Goshen or are you for some corporation that's coming in? That's what I want to know.
Mike Torelli.
Thank you. Mike Torelli, Maplewood Terrace here in Goshen. Once again, I'm going to talk to the board in relation to this potential local law as it gives you options. And what I mean by that is it gives you options to look at this type of use in a special use review and to say yay or nay. I have faith in the office that you guys hold and whoever we're going to elect in the future to do the right thing. When it comes down to it, I don't think this is a local law about landfills. If you look at any of the legislation that's out there, there are no new landfills happening in New York State. I think since 2000 when this, or 2004 when this was written, that many things have changed, including technology. And technology will bring potential new tax rateables to this town. What I mean by that is we already have transfer stations and landfills. The landfills are capped and closed, but we do have transfer stations. And there's a cost associated with those to take that transferred waste and move it elsewhere where it is accepted. If we can defer some of that by making something that would defer having something go on the ground, I think it's economically feasible. And I think that if we can get some host community fee or some tax rateables out of it to bring the taxes down in Goshen, that'll be something that would be positive. The waste is coming here already. If we separate it, maybe in the future it might be grass clippings, or maybe in the future it might be cardboard boxes, or maybe in the future it might be, you know, glass bottles that can be turned into something. Why would we want to defer that to going into landfills? I think giving you, meaning the town board, the option to review that on a special use permit is exactly what we put you in office for. I believe that you will make the right decisions when projects come in front of you. So I'm in favor of giving you these options to help lower taxes in all of Goshen. Thank you.
Thank you.
That is all. I don't know what happened. Okay, I'm sorry, what was your name?
Didn't I put you on the list?
I think we'll sign up. No problem. Let's just sign it up. Go ahead.
Hi. My name is Susan Cleaver. I live on 109 Coleman Road is the address for the farm. And I don't care for this law at all. But I have some questions first. On the, I guess it's the EIS, the stuff you have online on Hughes Development, it has no ADB permit. The permit ADB law is still in effect. This law has not passed. And Hughes has been in front of the ZBA and is now in front of the planning board. I don't know if it's been in front of your board, but it should have come and requested, filled out an application, and you guys are supposed to send it, from what I see in the law, to the planning board. The other thing that really bothers me is when it says about the fee to be determined. Since when do we get applicants in front of the town and say to be determined whether you're paying the $5,000 fee that is required? You have a responsibility sitting on this board to us, the taxpayers. I don't believe right now that you should be giving anybody a free ride on this. And I just, it seems wrong. I don't know of any other applicant where I've seen that happen. The other thing is, this requires an EAF, and it's supposed to be part of seeker. I see the last one you did afterwards. But there's also municipalities that border us, I think, are interested parties. For a public hearing, they should have been notified. And as they were saying, this does not conform to our master plan. Our master plan, I agree with Priscilla, needs to be done. We're also in an environmental justice area and a DAC, a disadvantaged community, which require a whole, I'm not an expert on it, but that's a whole thing, different thing for notification and everything else, and I doubt very much that that has taken place for this hearing tonight. The EAF should also have, at least from what I understand for the disadvantaged community, you should be looking at the cumulative impacts, which include not having any landfills right now to landfills wherever you're going to be and what the impacts would be from that. Because, or any other solid waste, which I believe you're trying to change the law to. This gentleman that talked before me, I didn't catch his name, talked about, and I think that our supervisor talked about cost, how high the taxes are in Goshen. I might be wrong, maybe it wasn't him, but this was an effort, this law, to lower taxes. So what I did, because I was really upset at the last meeting I went to. And is it okay to hand it out, or does it go to you?
No, I was making room for you to put it down. I didn't know if you needed room for your
Well, I
papers.
need one. I just wanted to, I printed 2 copies for the board. This is from the, pardon me?
I'll take them and hand them for you.
I was just going to go over on my side. This is from the Orange County landfill. It's a more recent testing that they've had. And as you can see, it's had thallium, arsenic, ammonia. It's still having problems. And I'm not sure what it cost for the corrective measures that were done at the Orange County landfill when it had all the seats. I know Doug was here. George, I believe you were on the board then when I brought in pictures of leachate and we tested it and it came back high. But I'm going to guess that just for the corrective measures, that it had to have been a minimum of $500,000 to the taxpayers. So when you think that these solid wastes are going to save money for the taxpayers, both transfer stations have had problems with leachate. So has the Altury landfill, and so does the Orange County landfill. They also sit on top of an aquifer, and it really seems stupid to me to think about putting Hughes upstream from where you're looking at the lip-off wells. The last thing that I'm going to comment on is the traffic. Honey Bernstein did a very good traffic study way back when it's in the master plan, and that road was an F. it failed everything. And they gave recommendations, they said it needed to have stuff done. Because if you go there in the morning or you go there in the afternoon, it doesn't move. We have new lights. What are you gonna do if somebody calls an ambulance? And you can't make it? Whose fault is it? Because you guys have sat on a board, you've known about that road being horrendous, and yet we're gonna raise all the buildings, we're gonna add all this stuff on that road. How do you think anybody's gonna move? So if someone, I have a good friend of mine is in a wheelchair, and she can't drive herself, and if the ambulance can her family sue you because you've known that the road's that bad and you just keep increasing it without making a change? I realize it's not your road, but you can't keep adding to something that it's like a plugged drain. So I hope you leave the public hearing open. Hughes Development, from what I've seen, has been to a lot of different counties. I'd like to bring you guys the paperwork so you have a chance to look, because you're looking to change a law for a company. This law is going to open everything up to have a landfill here, to having solid waste transfer stations, to anything. It doesn't limit it to Hughes. And I also would not trust this board with seeing Hughes not paying anything to come in, but it appears, and also the business that's happened with Northern Recycling, I can't remember the transfer station's initials, but if you're a resident, would you trust you guys to do it? I'm sorry, though, it's $500,000 to $1 million we're missing in tipping fees. And I don't think we ever got the tipping fees from the Altuve landfill, so I think it's crazy. Thank you.
Did anybody else want to speak on local law number 1? Tell me your name again.
Yeah. I'm John Harrigan of Everett Road, front yard in Goshen, and I'm opposed to any changes in the laws that would enable other innovative waste disposal to take place in Goshen. And my concern actually is not about a landfill being placed in, but it's more us importing waste. And as it pertains to Hughes Energy, when I went to their website, it actually looked kind of innovative and interesting on the surface. It was taking garbage and converting it into something else. But what appears to be one of the main products is a burnable biofuel. And if you're taking plastic bottles, whatever garbage, construction waste, pressure-treated lumber with copper materials or arsenic, and you take all these materials and they wind up in your pellet stream that you're burning this stuff in, you're just exporting the waste that should be thrown in the ground into our air so we all can breathe it. So I think that is just utter insanity. And if we were to introduce or invite this into our town, we're out of our minds. And so the question is, how good is this biofuel going to be? Is it going to be pure? Is it going to have plastics in it? And these are all questions that need to be addressed and asked and answered before any changes to the law take place. And what else? You know, if we enable this, there's also the question of it's an energy-intensive process because they're going to melt all this stuff down and process it, form it into whatever burnable product or whatever recyclable product. And is the facility going to be powered with the product? So are we suddenly burning this garbage in Goshen and into our air so we can process this stuff? And if that's taking place, we have to look and say, how big could this get? And so that's all, we all have to consider that. Thanks.
Thank you.
evening, gentlemen. Again, Faith Adams Frischberg. I live in the village.
Sorry about that. They
No,
can't
it
hear
is what it
outside.
is. No, it's good. We need to be heard. I think we're putting the cart before the horse. I think we need to actually make realistic changes to the area that we're talking about, that we're focusing our attention on. We can't add anything to Hartley until we have 17M cleared up. We have currently built, previously existing, planned warehouses, all sorts of other things that are creating tremendous traffic hazards already. I've got trucks that roll through the village, go onto West Main Street, which is not rated for vehicles this heavy, and create water main breaks from the constant vibration. It's not standardized for that like a county road would be. We have no, if we have a disaster at one of these warehouses, we don't know what they're containing. Do they have flammable issues, things like that? So if I have a problem at one of these on the table or existing warehouses that shuts it down, what am I doing with another building that's going to be bringing more trucks in? We're just going to be perpetual gridlock problems. And with regard to Hartley, this is a very complex subterranean environment there. For us to add to the Altori landfill, the Altori dump, which the landfill was built upon, the Orange County landfill itself, we are still having terrible problems with heavy metals and dangerous chemicals. It sounds like I'm repeating Susie Cleaver's stuff, but I'm repeating it because the people that are dead or in chemotherapy from living in this area of our town have to be remembered. And we have to clean up our mess first and understand what we're doing before we add anything. We have air quality issues from what was built on Cemetery Road with the gravel pit that comes and has increased the asthma in that area. We have a lot of things to think about, but I think we need to not step forward with this law until we have a sense of where we're going and what we want Goshen to be like. And I want to have it here for our kids.
Thank you.
I don't have any more names.
Does the board have any comments, questions? Anything?
I think we've had some very great comments this evening, very quality thinking. I thank the people in the audience for doing what you're doing, giving your positions to the town board.
Rick?
No, I'm good, thanks.
George? All right, I'm good. I need a motion to close the public hearing. Second. Roll call? George?
Aye.
Aye. Rick?
Aye.
Doug?
Aye.
Next item on the agenda, and just so the audience knows, no further action is being taken on this. It's been given over to the planning board. That's what all the determination for most of the things questions that you had today are going to be driven by. They will go through the entire process. They will get all the questions and answers and go through the whole seeker process to get this law. This law is basically, as Mr. Torelli said, the ability to issue a special permit. That's it. Introductory law number 2 of 2024, authorizing property tax exemption to volunteer firefighters and volunteer ambulance workers active and residing in the town of Goshen, County of Orange, State of New York, as authorized by New York State Real Property Tax Law 466A. Can I have a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Karina?
Yep, may I have Mr. Richard to the...
I'll wait.
Pass? Okay. Ann Wood, please.
concern about this is that if you waive their property taxes, this will be considered income for them.
It's not a waiving of their property taxes. It's a 10% reduction, that's it.
10% reduction?
Yes.
Okay, does it say that anywhere in here?
Yes. That's what the local law is,
I
yeah.
see, okay.
It's an incentive put on by, it's an incentive to stimulate fire workers and ambulance workers. That's essentially what it is.
But won't that be considered by state and federal, won't that be considered income?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Why not?
It's just a reduction of their taxes.
It's a monetary benefit.
It's a reduction of their taxes.
Right, monetary benefit that not everybody's getting, so it would be.
That's something that we could research, but this came down from New York State, not from us. We didn't put this law together.
Okay, and so would it impact their volunteer status? Since they're getting a monetary benefit, would they then be considered, or now be considered paid employees?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Those were my issues.
Okay.
If I could please have Brad Barnhorst to the floor. Brad? Oh, sorry. Got it.
Good evening again, members of the board. Thank you for the Thank you for the opportunity to address you once again. Regarding the local law, I believe the prior, the nice lady who spoke before me, whose name I immediately forgot, brought up some valid points. With that said, I would like to respectfully request that the board vote yes on this law. You thought I was going to say no, didn't you?
I did not. I thought you were going to say yes.
Things like this are fantastic. People who volunteer for firefighters and emergency responders, we cannot thank them enough. This is the least that we could do. So thank you for bringing this up, and please pass it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Anybody else, Fran?
Yep. I'm just going to put you in the back. Yeah. Okay. Mr. Neil Halloran.
Thank you. I'll make it short. I support it fully. Thank you for bringing it up, and thank you for the firemen for volunteering. The one other question I did have was, at the end there's a part that says when after they retire, and they're receiving this, if they still own a house in Goshen, they still have to have it as a primary residence. So I was just questioning, what are they going to have to do to prove their primary residence? And perhaps it's already figured out, but I just don't want to make it that complicated. I know some people move to Florida and they move their residence to there sometimes to save the income tax. But just so that they have some idea before they go.
Good question. We can research that for you. That's a good question.
Susan Cleaver. Susan Cleaver. Okay.
She left.
Richard Pearson.
My name is Richard Pearson. I'm president of the village, commissioner for the fire district, and chief of department. As far as we know, this would not be considered income. It did not come down from the state. The state came up with this in hopes of helping with recruitment and retention, which everybody knows has gone down. We asked the board to approve this and hopefully help out the members that are. Just for some information, the school board passed this. They asked how many people can be a member of the department. There's 190 members between all three companies. We're not even remotely close to that at this point. As for Neil's question about the residency, I've been in a couple of meetings with this, and I've never even heard of that. I know with the fire department, we have a rule that you have to sign a certificate of your domain, and you have to go where your primary residence is. And if you retire and go from there, you would be, in my opinion, if you retire and move to Florida and you had this as your summer, you would have to reclaim, figure out which one it's going to be. But I don't have an answer for that for you.
All right.
Thank you.
That is all the names I have. Oh, sorry. Mr. Torelli.
Thank you. Once again, Mike Torelli, 1 Maplewood Terrace here in Goshen. Thank you for considering this law. I'm definitely in favor of it. Volunteerism is down. and we needed, and something like this, a small park, to give them a break, is definitely needed. But I also want to commend you for not only bringing this up, but having the ability to do this. If we were in a municipality that didn't have balanced budgets and revenue coming in, it'd be a tough decision to make, because depending upon the amount of volunteerism, you'd have to figure out what that delta was, what that difference was, and how it's going to be made up. And while I cannot volunteer today, I hope someday in the future to be able to. I'm more than willing to pay my fair share to help these people who help us every single day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure. Linda, right?
When our son approached us about being a volunteer fireman, I couldn't believe it. I just didn't want it. I didn't want it at all. I wouldn't sign the sheet, nothing, because they had to have the sheet signed. So anyway, what happened is that his father signed the sheet. And then before he left the house to go hand it in, I signed. Because he really wanted it. It was something that was new to our family. A lot of families, once the father's in it, they all trickle down and they're in it. It brought meaning to Michael's life. And leadership, and I just couldn't get over when he took us on the tour of the new building in the Dykeman, and how he explained all of the equipment and what the trucks did and how they did it. He knew it all. It just fascinated him, and I was proud of him. And another thing is, I thought to myself, God, these people are not getting paid a dime, not a dime. And that's another thing that really bothered me. Why would anyone want to risk their life and not get a dime? Because no one does that today, really. And as we know, volunteerism is on a decline in every organization. But he's still with it. He isn't in Goshen. He started in Goshen. He's in Pennsylvania. He loves it. And in the community he's in, there is the ambulance involved with the fire department. So he does that also. And to him, it's just part of him that he really has to stay with. So if there could be a little bit of a benefit for these people, I believe in it. Because that little bit is really not enough. When they're out in the snow and everything, and the wet roads, and all of that, people, especially today, with the way people are driving and not adhering to our driving rules, you know, you wonder. So I just want to say, I believe in this one.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Yeah, thank you for the story. I thought that was very appealing to everybody.
All right, well, can I get a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, can I get a motion to accept local law number 3 of 2024 and adopt it?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Way to go, guys. Thanks for everything you do for us. Okay, next item on the agenda is to review and approve the request from 2669 Route 7 TM, aka EZ Development Inc., to return the stormwater construction completion guarantee of $96,800 plus interest. There's a letter attached from Sean Hoffman. They've done everything that they need to do, and the stormwater facility has been in play for a year. So, any questions on that?
No.
Nope.
No, can I get a motion to approve the request?
So So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Review and approve the updated safety plan for Dial-A-Bus. The current update includes name changes in part-time drivers and mechanics, as well as name changes in the town board. Any questions on that?
No?
George?
No, no
No?
questions.
Rick?
No good.
All right, can I have that motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Review and approve the updated drug and alcohol testing policy for Dial-A-Bus. The change reflects US DOT amended updated version 49 CFR Part 40 on May 2nd, 2023. The mandated changes include definitions and listing FTA as the testing authority. Any questions?
No.
Nothing from the board? Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Review and approve the town board minutes from February 8, 2024. They're attached. I look at them, I didn't see any issues. Anybody else have any issues?
I don't have any.
No?
I have that motion.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Review and approve a one-year extension for Broadley Road Solar Special Permit. I'll give you a little background on it. During the 3/9/23 meeting, the town board adopted a resolution to approve the special permit for both Broadley and Vivian Solar. The town code requires an applicant to obtain a building permit within 12 months of issuance of the special permit. The applicant is still obtaining a building permit but may not have it by 3/9, asking for a 6-month extension to August 22nd, 2024. Any questions, concerns?
No? So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Review and approve a one-year extension of Chester Road Solar One LLC Vivian Road special use permit to August 22nd.
So moved.
Second?
Wait, sorry. Oh, you guys said it.
So moved.
I'll go.
Second.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Finance. Discuss and approve a motion to authorize the supervisor to pay accounts payable check run from February 22nd, 2024 in the amount of $295,687.53. Have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Discussion approve a manual AP run of 12/31/2023 in the amount of $17,668.28.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Information purposes, the budget officer Christine Cavallari performed an accounts payable review on February 8, 2024. That is attached. Also, budget officer Cavallari submitted monthly finance report for November 2023. That is attached. All right, privilege of the floor. Anybody like to speak on any topics whatsoever? The floor is open to them. Nope. Okay, thank you very much. Do I have a motion to close the February 22nd meeting?
So moved.
All in favor?
Got your name
Aye.
down now.